So I think that gives us a good segue to get onto the next speaker. Just a bit of background on Giang and his team. So we have a incubator in Singapore, which I run with my fellow team here in Huawei. And we have a cohort of 9 incubated startups that work in that incubator that have been selected from a bigger group of about 70 odd. So very focused, very specific. And the amazing part about this journey, having gone through this process over the last 6 months with QAI, who's presenting next, is when we started the journey with them, they had a AI platform that had been their existing intellectual property that they developed, that is a solution that allowed them to outsource, think of them as a business process, outsourcing house with a platform to help train AI models. And when we did the product market fit exercise and we looked at the value proposition canvas, business canvas, and where they are in relation to all of that, it became quite evident from the exercise and from the discussion with Giang and the team that they needed to differentiate. They needed to create something that would allow them to be the masters of their own destiny, not reliant on receiving outsourced work where you're competing, for the cheapest per hour cost, which was just not where they wanted to be. So him and the team went to the drawing board, and to say that I'm amazed at what they've been able to internalize and output within the 6 months and present at our demo day that we had last week to about 30 different VCs here in Singapore is truly astonishing. And Giang, with that being said, I'd like to welcome you to the stage and for you to provide the audience with a demonstration of the amazing generative AI solution that you've developed.
Hi, thanks a lot, LV. Let me quickly pull up my screen. Just want to check if my voice okay. Okay, cool. Sure. So so I just want to spend like 1 or 2 sentences to appreciate what Ashley just shared just now. So I think one of the very important point that Ashley just point out is given this, the fast pace of development of AI, and it's growing so fast, such that we already see that ChatGPT is one of the very, very good example of an AI application that can be used by anyone. So in the past, right, when we talk about AI, right, not many people understand what kind of application or impact it's like. Most of the applications that actually can be developed or can be used was being used by bigger companies who can afford like a chief data officers or chief AI, or who can afford to pay attention to the new tech. But I think given that a lot of effort have been put in the AI development to even further lower the cost of adoption of AI, I think it will faster and faster penetrate in our daily operations and even daily life, our own life. So I think my presentation today, I'd like to share my journey of how I came up with this idea, what the finding along the way, and I hope that will benefit you in maybe finding out the next good idea, or like even give you a sense of, hey, what is happening in the AI world out there. So yeah, so my name is Giang. I have experience in developing AI and engineering from a couple of companies, tech companies. I'm from a university called NTU in Singapore. My role is mostly tech previously, and I started this company, out of some pain that I saw. Yeah. So the company that I built is essentially called Peel, and we really focus a lot on the visual aspect of AI. So how AI have the capability, amazing language capability that we have seen in ChatGPT, but we focus more on the visual one. So we believe that it will not just stop at text, but it will also expand to all the kind of data forms that will fundamentally change a lot of things around us. So before I go deep into PAI, I'd like to share a little bit about our findings of a few applications of generative AI. Yeah, just very brief. So it's the power of AI. So particularly in the marketing industry, I think previously has been ongoing arguments about, hey, whether AI can replace many of the job that we have done, that we have been doing, like the process of creating content or the process of essentially be creative. But ChatGPT, I think, has shown us that, with enough data, it can essentially I like to have a note here that, Ashley has mentioned, if you really go back into the history of ChatGPT, we understand that it's a model that's has been engineered in such a way that it produces amazing outputs. But this output are learned from historical data that produced by human like us. So ChatGPT, essentially, they're not producing any new intelligence, but rather it's very powerful query model able to combine different things given some inputs. So one of the very prominent things that when I try to explore different ideas to work in, I realized that actually this kind of generative model can do a lot of things in content creations. And one of the very prominent examples is blog post. So blog post has always been something that companies do. If chances you are started out there, you see that a lot of people write blog posts to educate people about the products or to talk about something that's just relevant to your business. And in the past, you need a person to do content writers. And simply because the quality that the AI can generate is not that good. But recently, I've seen even in like countries that I visited, like Vietnam, Thailand, there've been new kind of agency, like just random people pops out and say, hey, I can write a post for you. Some of the agency that I spoke to told me that in the past their client were willing to pay much more for a blog post. Now they're just telling you, I can generate ChatGPT within like a few minutes. Why do I have to pay you so much? So this is clearly something that's an application of AI that businesses are leveraging on, and the people who actually live and make a living on this need to be really, really aware of and pay attention to. And obviously, these are social media content. There've been a growing like a wave of application that built on top of ChatGPT foundation model. Like ChatGPT use the API to essentially semi-automate the process of creating media content. So what they do is there's cool applications. So in the past, what you do is you schedule, let's say for a month, 1 week you post maybe 2 or 3 posts on your social media like Facebook, Instagram, and you need to write content for that. But now what they would do is the new process, they would brainstorm the title of it, and they would just let the generative AI write everything, and they would have an editor that actually fix it. But now instead of like a full stack editor, they just need someone to look at it, read it, and try to fact check whether the ChatGPT is actually saying the correct thing. And if it is, then they're just gonna post it. And in fact, it's very good at writing. Yeah. And yeah, and obviously there are things like ads as well. Yeah. So so even like deeper, I realized that the reason why a lot of company wasn't able to do a lot of personalization, because it's just simply costly. It's very, very expensive for people to, to go to the level, to personalize. Yeah, so big company can do that. But imagine a small startup, if they write everything customized for their clients, it will be very tough. But imagine with the power of like AI, you can actually customize or personalize the content to fit the client's profile. Imagine if you know that this guy is a doctor and he just have some kids, you can tailor it in such a way that show it in visually or in text in such a way that it fits the doctors. And this can be done with the help of ChatGPT or like the generative models. So I believe the next wave, which is not super mature, but will be there, will be the image and video content, whereby AI, I think in fact it's been showing a lot of power recently, but I believe the next wave will be essentially AI that able to generate not just text, but also able to combine and query the kind of images that we imagine in our head and describe as text. Yeah, the first thing will be images, and one of very obvious example in the marketing industry is actually product images. When e-commerce stores, brands, marketing agency, anyone who actually try to sell products, will likely have faced the challenge of finding good images or taking picture of the images. And I think in developed countries, the cost of developing this was typically quite high. And now imagine if an AI that takes your products, know how it looks, and can generate different perspective of your products in different backgrounds, different lightings. And you just simply describe, just like working with a professional photographer. And not you don't have to wait for weeks, but wait for like a couple of seconds or like minute or seconds, and get the results. And you can iterate it yourself. Yeah. So that's going to be the new things. And we believe in the futures, or I believe in the futures, people might even go like deeper, as in the sense that there'll be generative videos that are actually usable for marketing. Imagine if all the fancy ads or videos that you have seen produced by professional brands or studios will be partially generated by AI or fully generated by AI. And I believe that this is really, really I think amazing future that I look forward to and I'd like to build. So when I first started looking at this, I would get really excited because of this whole generative AI thing. And I delved into, I was really into building this kind of application myself. And I realized that there are some limits that it currently have, which I will share. So, so some of the challenge with building such an application is that, imagine if you generate a text, right? And so the fundamental way that we use this application is you enter a text prompt, describe, let's say, this perfume, like perfume surrounded by water droplets, right? The AI has to be able to show you in such a way that it's actually visually appealing to you, and not just random droplet, instead of surrounding the bottle, right? Or it go all over the place. It's not like that. The AI has to be able to focus on generating that kind of things. And I think that's some sort of engineering challenge that we face. So we built a platform which actually leverage a foundational model to actually generate the background. So so this is like a demo, video demo. So as you can see, right, I think there will be a new wave of application like this that actually leverage a foundational model. In this case, a text-to-image model that enable people to generate the background that they actually need. So right now, if you go to a lot of e-commerce store or even like some personal shops, you might not see very visually appealing images. But I believe this will change by a new web application like this. People actually use and generate this kind of background in seconds. Yeah.
So Giang, if I may,
Sure.
just go back there. So for those that didn't see it, it seems very subtle, but it's quite a big thing, right? So as explained, you have this white bottle. So imagine any brand, Louis Vuitton, anything you can think of. And you have all your product shots. Now, previously, what would need to happen is I'd have to go into a studio and spend a countless amount of hours and money to actually do a photo shoot to create a specific look and feel. So now what Giang and the team have created is a platform where you can type in the text. So you can see on the left-hand side under the color codes, is typed in a bottle sitting on a white marble plate. Okay. Now press generate and see what happens. So what it's done is on the bottom left, given you different iterations of pictures that you can select. But basically AI has generated and created that look. So that fundamentally changes the game for any retailer, any fashion brand. And where they're taking it is now, if you think about your favorite celebrity or think about yourself, imagine integrating your Instagram, your Facebook, and saying that you want to see yourself with Louis Vuitton, or if you want to be in a specific place, driving a specific car at a specific restaurant, at a specific hotel, and completely generate whatever you want around you, going from text to image. And that's what they're working towards. Giang, back to you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for the comment, LB. So as you can see here, there's some of the other examples. So of the same products but different backgrounds, and really this practice, it's just the product shots that people create, and it's up to your imagination of what you want to create actually. So the AI is already can create this kind of quality images that we are already working with brands, and yeah, this is a quality that the AI actually had. So the thing that even make me more exciting that Elvis just shares is that it's not just simply can generate the background for it, but imagine if we can combine appearance of different entities. So in this case, you can combine the appearance of a person, a real person, and a product, and make it a campaign. So imagine if your brand want to test this product, how people react to it. With to launch this campaign is too expensive. You can send this to the platform and it generate different images of this person holding the products, and just share it on your Instagram, and the person don't have to work. But it gets you can get direction of how the testing of products, and I do believe this is the future, and it will not stop only at image. It will go to videos. I think we'll start with short videos, like maybe loops, thing that you move constantly up, back and forth, and then more sophisticated kind of videos. So I believe these kind of things that really will really change the way people work. And another thing that we see that's it will be very powerful in such a way that you can actually combine an image of different people, bring different people in the same image. Imagine if the brands that advertising the products for a family, yeah. So typically you have like two, maybe parents and the kids, but imagine now you don't need to bring the parents and the kids in the same studio, take a picture of them, but rather you'd use this tool to generate. So I believe that's this kind of thing is actually will help. Yeah. So I think right now I'd like to show like a live demo of the tools, and it just allows you guys to actually test it. Make sure that I can. So just now it's the cookies. This is actually the demo, and so the interesting about this is you can write, like Elvis just mentioned, you can write whatever you want, and it can actually generate the kind of background that you expect. Right now we're still in the progress of developing, but yeah. So let's say we try to enter something like cookies in a fancy bowl. Yeah. So it generate. So this is actually like generate in real time. It took a couple of seconds. This is yeah, so it's the first results. Yeah, so sometimes get creative, really creative, generate things that that might not look like what you typically see in a physical or real world setting. So the job of the engineer is to make sure that he's able to generate the kind of thing that's when we see it feels very natural. Yeah. So let's say, for example, in this case, right, you can see this is a bowl of cookies and there's something below, and and in these settings, right, there's a bullet flying. But essentially that's why we give them a few options that we can choose, they can choose from. And really there are more results that actually you can generate. For example, you can actually, this kind of things that actually not able to actually generate using the physical settings. You can get really creative and generate those. And for example, in this case as well. Yeah. So these are some of the examples that we did. And one of the very interesting about this is the ability to actually create the shadows. So for example, I like to give an example in this case, for example. Yeah. So it's different, it's different from the typical design tool in such a way that it's able to create the images in a natural settings that simulate the lighting, the shadows, and the composures that you describe. For example, in this case, I describe it as a product standing on a platform, not as circular, but with colorful paint in the background and bright tone. So this the kind of result that it actually generate. And I do believe that's and I have seen people started using our platform, generate amazing results. And I do believe that this will actually fundamentally change the way people generate product images. And next will be model images. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's some of the examples. But we do see a challenge with this kind of tool in such a way that in order for people to generate this kind of images, people actually need to know what to write in this area to describe what they want to see in the background. But some people just don't want to do that. So we realize that it will be better if we give people the kind of style and a template, or even build a community of people who contributes the way they write the prompts, so that's all people can follow. So one of the biggest value proposition of Canva is that they have a huge amount of template and stock photos, millions. And I believe in the future, there will be a new wave of sort of like so-called stock photo. Instead, that will be prompts based. So there'll be a lot of people who generate and share their results. And from there, we can know how they actually write the prompts in such a way that the AI can generate beautiful and stunning images. So this would be the future of like templates or stock photos. Yeah. So
Giang. No, thank you. I'm conscious of time, and I just want to open up to the floor. I saw one question come through there, which was, does it have to be a high-res photo? So I'll let you answer that.
The AI, you don't need a high-res photo for it to work. Yeah, that's a short question. Just short answer. Because the AI itself has this thing called super resolution, which means that it makes your product looks more higher, give your product higher resolution after generations. But the process of making it higher resolution will essentially the AI will try to fill in, all the details. So it might not represent the best of your product. So I would suggest that when you use this kind of application, use a high resolutions. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I think it's a perfect prelude to what I'm going to be sharing. And again, well done to you and the team. I'm excited to watch the journey and see how this takes shape. So congrats.
Hey, thanks.